Stop the aliens. Hi, Vipin. Wow, they said hi early. They've been here since. Are you still here, Vip? Have you been in line since 9:31 a.m.? That'd be amazing. Like tickets, the hottest ticket in town. Anyway, good evening. Welcome. If I'm sure you're just joining us, notifications are popping up everywhere worldwide, and so yeah, this is a weird setting. No, that's weirder. Okay. Notifications are going off worldwide that I'm live. That means drop everything and come join us for an hour this evening. If you're here already, please say hi. Let us know you're here, where you're from, and let us know what you're most looking forward to for the holidays, or if you already had your holiday, what you enjoyed the most. Hey, David, good to see you, buddy. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. It is December 21st, closing in on the end of 2021. 7:02 p.m. on the East Coast. We're live. So I can't be bleeped out. Whatever's coming out is coming out, and can't stop me. Can't stop me. If you're just joining us, please say hi. Let us know you're here. Let me know you're here. Oh no, us. Fran is very much my partner in virtual live stream crime. Hey, Nikki Bradley. Good to see you. Hey, Natalie. So we'll get started in just about 15, 20 seconds. And that time is up now. Hey, Michael Schramm, been a minute. Hope you're well. I didn't mean to sound Nikki. Wait, hi, Nikki. I need to feel like I need to keep it. Nismo, nice to see you. It's been a while. Oh, Edu. Okay. Hey, man. Good to see you, Edu. And Nikki and says hi to Fran. Excuse me. Watching from Minneapolis. Excited to relax over the holidays and have time off work. Absolutely, Sarah. For sure. Nikki, is it cold in Dublin right now? It's a little chilly here in Georgia. Is it colder in Dublin? That's the question. All right, let's get started. I'm sure people will continue to come in. My name is Ethan. I'm a national advocate for the International OCD Foundation, which simply means I have OCD and I like to talk about it like way too much. Hey, Christiana, how are you? Let's get through the housekeeping. So this town hall is intended to serve, or this Just Ethan is intended to serve as educational content. And it's not intended to replace therapy, mostly because I'm not a therapist. But even if I were, it's not intended to replace therapy. For treatment-related questions, please be sure to work with your local provider or contact a local clinician. The International OCD Foundation is not a crisis hotline and should not be used if you're in distress or feeling unsafe. If you are in a crisis or you're ever feeling suicidal or unsafe, please go to your local emergency room, call 911, or call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 800-273-8255. As always, we want to be respectful and kind to everyone, create as safe a space as possible. So please know that these live streams are recorded and they are on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and all the places. So keep that in mind as you're asking questions or leaving comments. But again, we like to be as respectful and kind and supportive. We are all in this together. With that being, was that a cat that just went by me? That was, oh, it is. Oh, there she went. Oh, see, this is action packed. Oh, there's two of them. This is exciting stuff, huh? So actually, that's for those of you that don't know, that's Bonnie, and that is Callie up there. And Callie's currently judging Bonnie, and Bonnie's about to attack something. We don't know what. Stay tuned. Anyway, how is everyone doing tonight? Welcome. I'm excited. Last live stream, last Just Ethan, I should say, of the year. So as we wrap this up, I want to thank everyone for tuning in and supporting. And hey, Renee, I love kitties too. And for tuning in and being supportive and all your great comments and conversation and advocacy and just everything you do to support the community, whether it's showing up here every other Tuesday, or anything else you're doing to just speak about OCD and related conversations. It's so appreciated. So thank you. Your cat is in attack mode. Yeah, no, totally. We have a tunnel I forget that this is reversed. This is just not, but we have a tunnel. So she's chilling in the tunnel. She hanged the lamb, the lamb. This is so hard with this program. Right there. There's a lamb hanging from Fran wrote, welcome to the IOCDF Animal Hour. Yes, I'm your host. I look a bit like an animal. Okay. So this topic tonight is on New Year's resolutions, which is both my favorite and least favorite topic. I rarely set a New Year's resolution, but I figured we could talk about it. Also, I want to throw out, and this may take us on a tangent, I'm hoping so. It's a bit, lots of stuff going on. Hey, Mike, happy holidays to you too. Lots of stuff is going on right now in the world. So while this is about New Year's resolutions, if there's anything on your mind, as always, if you have stuff you want to talk about, if there's anything you're struggling with, please feel free to comment and or ask questions. We don't have to stay just on New Year's resolutions. And yeah, David's accurate. Bonnie's in attack mode. Her eyes are all glassy, and she's having a good time. Anyway, so please feel free to ask anything that you want, because I know a lot is going on as we head into the Christmas holiday and the Kwanzaa holiday. Hanukkah having been early, or in the month, or end of November, I should say. So with that, I'm going to pose the question to you: who has a New Year's resolution, and what is it? Who has a New Year's resolution? I guess the question would be, what is your New Year's resolution as it relates to OCD and anxiety, or maybe it's something else? What is your New Year's resolution? Or if you haven't thought about it, maybe it's a good time to think about it. And then we can talk about maybe the idea of a New Year's resolution and maybe a different way to frame what that means, because it can seem a bit intimidating. I know I was intimidated and still am. And people are like, oh, I'm going to do this year. And I'm like, I just want to get out of bed. So I like to maybe reframe what a resolution looks like, and what you all want for the new year and what I want for the new year. So please feel free to just fill the comment thread. Edu wrote, doing much more exposures. That's a good New Year's resolution, because that equates to I want to put OCD to bed. I want to nip it in the bud. And so doing much more exposures is definitely a good New Year's resolution for sure. What else do people have that your goals for the new year, or things that maybe you didn't get a chance to do this year or didn't achieve yet, or that you wanted to try? To keep giving back and keep maximizing ultimate meaning. Wow, that's powerful, Mike. I like that. I really like that. So, and you're always present at all these things, and we love your presence, and we love your comments and your feedback and all of that. And I'd actually ask you a follow-up, Mike, which is, what is maximizing ultimate meaning? I have an idea, but I'd love to hear it from you. Natalie, be more of a minimalist and get better organized. Realize that all the clutter in my house just causes me to be more anxious. So trying to create a calm environment at home to help me with my OCD anxiety. That's a great idea, Natalie. I can't tell. I actually just cleaned our office today, and it makes a huge difference. I mean, I've always liked I've always liked a clean space, having absolutely nothing to do with OCD. I actually really enjoy it, because when I was very sick, everything was really messy. And so I really like owning things of my own, and B, taking care of them. I take pride in that. So, but even just the energy, I'm much more productive when I have a clean space or a clean area. I'm much more relaxed when my resting place, my den, my living room, my bedroom is clean. I think that's a great idea. And being more of a minimalist, like deciding what you need and what's important, and maybe what you don't need. And we can all take a cue from that. So thank you, Natalie. Renee said, do you have any suggestions on mental compulsions, checking emotions? What do you mean, Renee, by do I have suggestions on mental compulsions? You mean suggestions on how to cope better with mental compulsions? So I just want to get more clarification on your question. I mean, I can suggest a lot of mental compulsions, but I don't want you to do any of them. So no, just a little bit of clarification on your question, Renee, would be wonderful. Nikki wrote, very difficult to make a New Year's resolution in these weird COVID times. I agree. It's this Omicron thing. I'll be honest, it's strange and it's uncomfortable and it's disconcerting. And I'm sure we all know someone with COVID right now. And it's unnerving, and I remember somebody saying, I was having a conversation with a business associate of mine, who was saying, well, at least it's mild. And I'm like, well, you don't have a catastrophic brain. Like, I'm thinking about all the mutations down the road and what's going to happen. So it is difficult. And I think, Nikki, you've led me to a resolution that I am going to. I think this is an ongoing resolution for me, which is to continue to try to live as presently and as mindful as possible in the moment with the information that I have right now, and deal with things as they come, and continue to remain flexible and pivot when I have to, so I can lead a meaningful, enjoyable, and passionate life, even if things are uncertain or scary. Take what I'm given in the moment and the information that I have and try to make the best of it. So, so thank you for that, because it is difficult, but I think we can, remain steadfast and absolute in our attempt to stay present. David wrote, remain dedicated to my low carb diet. Start a book about my OCD journey, me, God, and OCD. I love that. I've been trying to write a book for probably 7 years. I think I've got about 60,000 words. I wrote them 7 years ago, and I haven't gone back to it. So kudos to you, man. That's awesome. And you have a bunch of fans here that would love to read that when you write it. Also, low carb diet is inspiring for me. I have been attempting to lose the weight. I fluctuate. It is very hard. And quite honestly, I actually had my therapy session today, and I was complaining about my constant battle with weight loss. And I kind of put my head down, because I've been saying the same thing to her for 11 years. And so that's awesome, man. And I will take inspiration from that. So thank you for sharing, David. I appreciate that. Alexandra is in the house, says, hey, Alexandra. Met her in person for the first time last week. She is as cool in person as she is over Zoom, but a lot taller than I thought. So she can laugh at that. Renee, yes, that's what I mean, Ethan. Okay, perfect. So let me back up to your question, Renee. Do you have any suggestions, on how to handle mental compulsions, checking emotions and feelings? Yeah, I mean, mental compulsions seem tricky or harder because, it's not something you feel like you can just stop, as opposed to I'm not going to wash my hands or check something. It feels more difficult because, as we've learned, we can't control our thoughts and we can't control our feelings. The first thing we have to do, I'm going to take a new approach to this, because I've been doing a lot of work recently with the Y box, which is the Yale Brown Obsessive Compulsive Scale, and it's essentially the industry standard, the primary way to measure severity in OCD. And I've been working with some amazing doctors at Stanford on a particular project. And one of the things that I thought about was really identifying what's an obsession and what's a compulsion, because with mental compulsions, that can get tricky, right? So it was explained to me so beautifully, and I know what it is, but the way it was explained was so beautiful, and I'm not going to do it justice, but it was basically like, the obsession is you think the name John over and over again, and you can't help it. The compulsion is you think James to stop thinking of the word John. And it was so simplistic in its description. I was like, wow, that's really good. I like that. That's cool. Mental compulsions, first we have to, so my point is, identify the obsessions, right? What is that thing that we're really struggling with that gives us that discomfort, that anxiety, those uncomfortable feelings that move us to then mentally compulse? Now, you use the word checking, and that is the compulsion in that case, Renee, checking emotions, checking feelings, everything like that, right? So much like physical rituals, physical compulsions, it becomes a matter of, are you willing to sit with the discomfort of the thought, whatever it may be, without the checking compulsion? Are you willing to be uncomfortable with those thoughts? Are you willing to let those thoughts be there? Are you willing to let those thoughts be there and engage in value-driven behavior? Those are all the questions that you have to ask yourself. And are you willing to let those thoughts be there, which means to a certain extent letting those feelings be there? And the feelings are tricky because the feelings further intensify the belief that the thoughts are possible or are true or even more uncomfortable. If you feel it, then it must be true. If I feel a certain way, then it must be a fact versus, oh, it's just a thought, but I don't really feel, it's not my gut feeling. And so feelings are very tricky and sly, and they tend to give us false reassurance that what we're thinking is true. So much like physical compulsions, the goal here is to mitigate and not engage in mental compulsion, such as checking your emotions, checking your feelings, doing a scan, if you will, right? And so for you and anyone else that deals with mental compulsions, as I do, um, sometimes I'm in the shower and a little trigger warning here, but sometimes I'm in the shower. The trigger is not me in the shower, although that's a valid trigger warning. But no, that is not that is not the trigger warning, me in the shower. But do strike that from your mind. When I'm in the shower, I've talked about this in my story multiple times, but one of my OCD self-harm symptoms has been like bashing my head. And I've talked about it multiple times. It was my primary symptom when I was really sick. And it was a fear of either like bashing my head on purpose or getting brain damage. And every once in a while, I'll be showering and my head will be close to the tile wall. And I'll start getting these really intense images of just slamming my head into the wall over and over again. And of course, with that comes the feeling of the rush in the Russian heart rate. The Russian adrenaline, the increased heart rate. What if I do it? What if I feel like I could feel my muscles just kind of moving toward that? And I immediately want to take safety measures to prevent myself from doing that because I don't want to, but I feel like I'm going to, right? And so what does preventing safety measures look like? Well, getting out of the shower, moving away from the wall, those kinds of things. And but I'm very good at, especially with that compulsion, I'm very good at, embracing that thought and recognizing it for one as OCD. Recognizing it for two is it's probably my OCD. It probably won't happen. I may do it, but I don't want to. And so we can chalk it up to OCD. And three, be willing to ignore it. And that feels very irresponsible to ignore a perceived danger or uncomfortable thought. It feels like you're not paying attention to something you should pay attention to. But by ignoring it, and when I say ignore, I don't mean try to stop it or not have the thought. I simply mean, okay, you're yelling at me. That's great. Keep on yelling. I'm going to pay attention to something else now. By doing that, the more you do it, the quieter all of those thoughts get very quickly, along with the feelings subside and so forth and so on. So I'm rambling on this topic because I think it's a really good conversation about how to really work on not engaging in mental compulsions. And it's hard. It's hard. It's definitely hard. But the more you practice, the better you get at it. And eventually, those screams of OCD becomes whispers, and they're much easier to deal with and cope with. And also the response, the way OCD responds when you engage in ERP or acceptance commitment therapy, where you engage in this idea of like, yeah, I don't care. It could happen and I'll deal with it then. I may just suddenly start bashing my head against the wall. I don't know. I don't want to. I like to think I won't, but I'm not going to prevent myself. I'm not going to take any extra steps. I'm just going to keep showering and let that really uncomfortable feeling be there. And when you do that over and over again, not only does the thoughts get quieter, but the feelings go away. And both those things happen much quicker than they did when you first started treatment. So, okay. So, David Dowdy, remain dedicated. Look hard. Okay, perfect. Yes, that's what I mean. Okay, my son has COVID. Oh, Nikki, I'm so sorry. I hope you're a quick recovery to your son, and Fran wishes you that as well. My son and daughter-in-law have COVID right now. I know, oh, that's awful, love. I know, Nikki, it's hitting Europe really bad, UK. I'm sorry, love, to hear that. For everybody watching that has COVID's currently touching their life, hopefully, everyone has a speedy recovery, and everyone stays safe and healthy, for sure. Ashley wrote, minimalize and organize and sell things, keeping things simple, accept the unpredictability of life. What a beautiful statement. I totally agree with you. Minimalize and organize. I love that. Sell things is great because you might as well profit on your minimalizing, right? I think so. I'm a big fan. eBay it all the way. Watch your efforts take shape and produce. What am I talking about? Anyway, but I love accept the unpredictability of life. I mean, it's life is unpredictable, right? And the same thing is like accept the uncertainty of life. And I have to say, and I talk about this a lot, so I apologize, but I like the unpredictability of life. Not always, but as much as we can sit here and think about all the horrible things that can happen that we may not know about, there's some awesome things that happen that we didn't know about, and I'm sure you can think of many times in your life where you woke up on a certain day and something amazing happened, or you found out about a job, or somebody and proposed to you, or you met someone. I mean, there's a million examples of amazing things that can happen that you didn't necessarily know about, and that's the same uncertainty that we face, with our OCD, and so there's two sides to it, and I like to choose, as most of the time, to try to focus on the fun side of unpredictability and the fun side of uncertainty, and what is it going to throw it at me, and is it going to be fun? I hope it's fun. If it's not, that's going to suck, and I'll do my best to deal with it. And sometimes I don't deal with it very well, but I like that, Ashley. That's really well said. Mike wrote, I think it relates to values, to create the most value-driven behavior and to seek out the most beneficial outcomes for as many people as we can. That was maximizing the maximizing comment. I'm going to read that again, Mike. To create the most value-driven behavior and seek out the most beneficial outcomes for as many people as we can. I love that. Really well said, Mike. And this is a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity to talk about. I was talking to Katie, lead advocate and a favorite person of mine, and she made a great point. And we were talking about New Year's resolutions, and we talk about self-compassion on a lot of the live streams, and obviously they're an integral part of treatment. And I think New Year's resolutions are tricky, and this is kind of what I was alluding to at the beginning, because when we make a New Year's resolution, sometimes we can be very passionate about that resolution to a point of rigidity, right? Where it's like, I'm going to do it. I don't care what happens. I'm going to make myself do it, and I'm not sticking in this time. I'm going to, and as we've learned with so many things in our conversations over the year, I think, rather than a resolution, and I'm not going to take credit for this, Katie, called it an intention, a New Year's intention. And I really liked that. I really liked that word, because I think an intention gives you the permission to have self-compassion if you don't necessarily follow through on a day or two, right? We're allowed to be compassionate with ourselves if we falter, because we are human, and that is life. And so Katie just texted me, and she said, I like to call it a compassionate commitment. So I like that a lot. So I hope that resonates with you. I think that, and you can still call it a resolution, but I always like to think of a resolution in terms of, I'm not against it, but I did this myself, and it was never successful, in that I remember when I was getting better from OCD, or I was in treatment, or whatever it was, and I was the king of proclamations. Every day I made a proclamation to somebody. Today forward, I will never blah, 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 or I will only blah, 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 or I swear I'm never going to blah, blah, blah. And it was never that. And it's not about giving yourself room to be like, I'm going to mess up. The goal is to do it. Try and do it. But the goal is to also be compassionate with yourself when you don't. Because as we know, and we've talked about a gazillion times, is that, by giving yourself permission when it doesn't go as planned, that is really, really crucial to you getting back on board, back on the track, and moving forward the way you wanted to, as opposed to having this really rigid belief that you're going to do it every day, and you're going to do it perfectly every day, and then being so crushed when that doesn't happen that you're just like, screw it, not doing it anymore. I screw it, F it. So I like compassionate commitment. I like, New Year's intentions, and all those phrases. But really, we're just talking about approaching a new year and things that you want to do with compassion for yourself, and understanding that life is a process. It's not a problem to be solved. It's a process to be experienced. And so I like that. TOC Puerto Rico wrote, better treatments and opportunities for Latino communities with OCD. Absolutely. And if Alexandra's, I have a feeling I felt like she was going to comment on it. 100%. And we've got some Latinx initiatives in the pipeline for advocacy moving forward in 2022. You know, I think there needs to be so much more representation, and I know Alexandra, if you're still on, she can spout some facts for some amazing facts about just efficacy of treatment if it's done in native language Spanish or really anything, or Portuguese, wherever you're from, or really any language, and just this stigmatization in the less access to effective treatment. I did comment on Ethan. I haven't read all the comments, but I figured you did. So yes, what Alexandra said. She's our resident expert, and I would have pretend to but to know. But I totally agree with you. And as is the as the mission of the IOCDF is to work to make sure that treatment is accessible, affordable, and effective for everyone, regardless of race, religion, creed, nationality, ethnicity, location. And it's a process. It really is. But we're doing the best we can to make it happen. So thank you for that, TOC Puerto Rico. Appreciate it. Best meal I ever had was in Puerto Rico. I've said that before, but I'm saying it again. The hands down, the best meal I've ever eaten was in Puerto Rico. So for what it's worth. Ashley wants to write a book too about postpartum life. Absolutely. And we talk about perinatal OCD and or whether yours is specific to that or otherwise. In our national other national advocate, Liz McInvale, recently had a baby in May and is really passionate about that conversation as well. So I'd love to hear more about that, Ashley. Eric B, reigning world champion trivia extraordinaire, chilling in Houston, Texas. Eric, I hope you're staying healthy and well down there. I know it's a bit hectic with COVID, but it's great to see you, man. Alexandra, this is important. 7:13 p.m. Fran, Alexandra, I'm so short. But her personality, she's 6'7", 6'8". So Eric wrote, my New Year's resolution is to be on time to everything, not directly related to OCD, but sometimes my checking and perfectionism make me late. And that's great. I think that's I think being on time is a great, there's that saying, like, if you're early, you're on time. And if you're on time, you're late. But I think that's a great thing to go for. And I think, to your point, I always feel weird talking to Eric because he's absolutely brilliant. I guess it's trivia. I don't know if that equates to the rest of life, Eric, but I'm joking with him. But, to Eric's point, you have more flexibility and more ability to make your own choices as an individual when you're not choosing for OCD. And so, I say to Eric, and I would say the same thing, if you want to be late, be late. Let that be your choice though, right? Don't do it for OCD. If you're going to be fashionably late and make an entrance, do it because you want to. Oh, and hey, Don, and he's in Puerto Rico for 5 days. Puerto Rico's the spot right now. Have some garlic shrimp mofongo for me because it's awesome and delicious. Okay. My girlfriend's kid's dad has COVID right now too. They're isolating. I'm sorry, Eric. Beth Carducci. Hey, Beth, happy holidays. Oh, yeah, there's Alexandra's comment. Eric, let's see here. Alexandra, did y'all meet at the OCD conference? Yes, I'm just reading through comments. Thanks, Ethan. He's in London where it is. Natalie, okay. Oh, no. Okay. Y'all are having some good conversation. Huh? Yay, eBay. Oh, you do sell part-time on eBay. Awesome, Renee. Meg wrote, I found that also not labeling my days as good or bad and instead just saying it was a bad 10 minutes instead of a bad day or night helped me be more positive. Let's leave this up a second. Fran, I love this so much, Meg. I really do. I talk about this all the time, and I love that you wrote this. I always talk about having more good days than bad. And what you'll notice, and I noticed it profoundly, is when I was, most of my life, until I received treatment, so birth to 31, all my days felt defined by the bad part. I could have, to Meg's point, I could have 10 minutes of bad day and a great good day, but in my mind, the day was crap. And it wasn't so much me putting so much weight. I viewed, that was just my perception of things without treatment and therapy. And so, I relate to that extremely well. And I'm sure so many of you do as well. I have learned as I've navigated these last almost now 12 years of, or 11 years of sort of living in maintenance management of OCD, that not only do I, aim to live more good days than bad, I expect there to be bad days, bad hours, bad minutes, but my brain sort of defaults to the good and not the bad now. It's reversed. I talked about a cruise I took in 2019, at the end of 2019, back in the good old days before COVID. Um, and and the first few days of that cruise, I was sick as a dog. Oh my God, I was so sick and panicking because it was bringing up all my old anxiety feelings, and I was freaking out. And I bought internet for $700 to talk to my therapist, and it was like, I was ready to like jump overboard and start swimming just to get rid of the feeling, because I was just so the rocking back and forth. And I adjusted, and out of the cruise was 7 days. That first 36 hours was just horrendous. And then I had the best time on the cruise. And I spoke about that at my next Just Ethan. And it's true, though. When I think about the cruise, I don't ever think about that. I think about like that was one of the best vacations I've ever had. It was so much fun. I don't, and so I don't define, that period of time with that small period. So I love that, and I'm all for. And the other thing is, Meg, is you can be experiencing uncomfortable things and have a good day anyway, or a meaningful day, right? We always say, I like to say, you have a full life. That's reality. Is you're not gonna be happy all the time. You're not gonna be sad all the time. And so can you live a full life? And I see full as fitting into that, basically what you're saying, which is, I had a day and I didn't feel good. I felt really sick, but I did really meaningful stuff. So, was it a bad day in terms of how I felt? Maybe. Was it a good day in terms of what I did? Sure. So did I live into my values and do the best I could? Absolutely. So, I agree. I don't think we need to label as much. Thank you, Meg. That was really good. Renee, I love that. Compassionate commitment. That is so much better. Yeah, she's good with that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Debbie, hi, newbie here. I'm 60 and pure OCD started at 13. Well, first of all, Debbie, thank you for joining us and finding our little ragtag group. We love that you're here. And this is it's recorded, so it'll be on social, but it's as safe a space as we can create. So please feel free to ask questions, weigh in the conversation, anything and everything you want to talk about. We are here to discuss. So thank you for joining, Debbie. Appreciate you. Love your sweatshirt. Thank you. Everything is still reversed. Yes, it is the IOCDF. Why can't I figure this out? Okay, there. Yes, it's IOCDF hoodie. Comes in 2 colors. You can visit, Fran, if you'd like to, you can visit the IOCDF merch store and pick up all your IOCDF swag. It is good for starting conversations. Okay, compassionate commitment is a huge win. People like that. So much credit to lead advocate Katie Dunn for her compassionate. Ethan, what was your favorite all-time meal in Puerto Rico, by the way? I'm trying to think. So I had the garlic shrimp mofongo, but I can't think of the name of the meat. Maybe our friend from Puerto Rico can help us. I wish I could share pictures on here because I can share pictures on here. Okay, hold on. I wouldn't ever do this except that it's the last year. So let's see if we can make this happen. I don't want to kill too much time here, but let me see if I can very quickly find. Let me zoom out here. I just have to look for the deep blue because that's the cruise. Yep, that worked. Okay, so all right, here we go. So let me just share. What is this? Can somebody help me figure out what this is? Okay, I don't know. I think this is working. So this is thank you. Yeah. So this was a pork chop, but it looked like something Fred Flintstone would eat because it had like the Stegosaurus ribs on it. But that was insane. And then I had let's see here. Here's the shrimp mofongo, which was insane. So yeah, so that was oh no, stop share screen. Okay. So that was literally the best meal I've ever had. It was awesome. So there you go. I don't know, maybe we can weigh in on what the Stegosaurus was, but it was awesome. Whatever it was good. Let me see if Oh wait, that's a pork chop, probably cooked with adobo. No, I know it's a pork chop, but it had a name. You're not from Puerto Rico. You don't know Alexandra. I thought she was from Puerto Rico one time. Let me find my place. I highlighted where I was, and the highlight disappeared. So, oh, love your sweatshirt. Yes, yes. Alexandra. Okay, borscht. Sorry. Just for info, talk is how you say OCD in Spanish. I appreciate that. Yes, it is, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Edu. There it is. Favorite meal. Okay, Natalie. Thank you. Let's see here. Renee wrote, my New Year's resolution is to get back into intermittent fasting and to stop smoking. I thought at first you said the internet. I'm like, that's cool. I think that's awesome. I think those are great commitment. I mean, it sounds to me that you have a health value here, right? You value your health, your physical health. I'm sure you value your mental health too. And so both of these things are great. And this is a great example. These are great examples to sort of latch into to talk about, what a resolution is. So Renee, she wants to work on intermittent fasting and stop smoking. Stop smoking is really hard. It can be really hard, right? And committing to any type of change in eating lifestyle is also difficult. So it's this idea of, I want better for myself. I'm going to set a routine and schedule, and I'm going to set goals, realistic goals, right? Goals are very important. Goals is what we use to help us live our value-driven life. So I'm going to set goals, and it's important to set realistic goals, because you want to keep yourself excited. The more goals you hit, the more more passionate you become and excited you become to keep it going. And so, but this is where this compassionate commitment idea comes in, right? Let's say Renee has a bad day and has a cigarette or eats. What does that look like? Well, if we had this mentality, this really rigid mentality of like, every day I have to be perfect, I have to go at this, right? Then most likely, you're going to beat yourself up for that. You're going to think you're a crappy person. You failed your resolution. You failed your goal. You didn't do it. All those thoughts. And, that can easily lead to this idea of like, well, I'm just going to quit then, because versus this thought of had a bad day. Had a bad day. No, I'm not saying that. Had a bad day. It happens. Maybe you have 2 bad days. Maybe you have 3 bad days. Is that okay? Well, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You smoked for 3 days. You ate after 8 for 3 days. For whatever reason, maybe it's new stresses in your life. Maybe you had something happen. Maybe you're feeling more emotional or whatever. The question becomes, can you be compassionate with yourself? Can you give yourself grace to acknowledge that you're a human being, to acknowledge that we don't do everything perfect all the time, and to say, you know what, that's okay. I can give myself self-compassion while still wanting to be better. And therefore, tomorrow or right now, I'm going to say, that was then, this is now, and let's move forward back on the path. And that's the difference, really, in my mind, between sort of that proclamation that I will never again do that, and this idea of, because here's the thing, and you may be thinking, I really struggle with self-compassion. I mean, I'm much better at it now, but I struggle with it a lot, because I really felt like to succeed at anything, you had to be hard on yourself. We've had a lot of live streams in the past year on self-compassion, and I've talked a lot about this, but I really did. I thought you had to be really hard on yourself. There was no room to be compassionate when you got to get things done. You got to do it. You have to do it. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to, and it's great if you do that. But then if you don't, then you're really hard on yourself. And I know for me, I'm my harshest critic. And so, I would get to a point where I would just beat myself, into oblivion with just this nasty self-critical talk that froze me in my tracks. And I just didn't want to try anything, because I was so rigid in this belief that I had to do it every time, and I had to do it perfect every time. And if I didn't, then I was, a piece of crap, as opposed to giving myself the flexibility in the room to make mistakes. The goal still being, to want the best for myself and to work at it. And that's kind of the goal there. So I like that, Renee. Thank you for sharing that. Beth wrote, I'm 57, have had OCD since I was 11. Beth's one of her greatest moments this year, I think it's good to reflect, is the fact that she washes dishes and cries, and I really do want to make this a shirt that we sell at the IOCDF. I don't even work for the IOCDF, but we should make this shirt because we were talking about like living into your values despite how you feel, and she wrote that she washes dishes and cries, and I thought, what a great, just the simplest example of like you can be uncomfortable and feel sad or feel anything and still do what you need to do, and I love that. So thank you, Beth, for that. I think I'll carry that with me forever. Ethan is Katie watching live tonight too. If so, hi Katie. Katie is on the treadmill running because she's always training for ultra marathon. She is watching, and so love Lana. Katie says hi. Nope, other way around. Katie, love Lana says hi, and so yeah, she's in her gym downstairs watching on the TV. So thank you, love Lana. That's very sweet. Debbie wrote, I've been on meds since I was 33, but really have had such growth in the last 7 years. And you? Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that. And I'm so glad to hear that you've had a lot of growth in the last 7 years. I'd be curious if you feel that was, based on medication changes, if you've been engaging in therapy or what you've been doing to do that. I would absolutely love to tell you a lot about my story. Fran, can you put a link to my the keynote speech from 2014? I think if you just Google Ethan Smith keynote, you probably know. But we'll put a link in the thread, Deb, and you can, Deb, we're best friends now. I'm gonna call you Deb. And you can hear my story and all about it. And then at the end, I'll give my email out, and you're welcome to email me, as anyone here is, of course, and we can continue the conversation. So thank you for asking, and thank you for sharing as well. I really appreciate it. And there's 3 colors for hoodies. Thank you, Fran, for the so Edie wrote, I had a similar cruise experience, but with a plane trip, I get extremely anxious on flights, but I had a blast when I landed. I will keep flying regardless and keep exposing myself to the anxiety. Absolutely, man. And that will continue to hopefully, as you do it, continue to subside. Stacy Rosenthal, no food poison. Very funny. No food poisoning from the shrimp mofongo or the dinosaur, but it was delicious. And you know what? Had I, it still would have been worth it. It was so good. I did have food poisoning from Deep Dish Pizza in Chicago, from like one of the top places. And they were even blown away that I got it. And they were like, are you sure? And they kind of fought me on it, but the person I was with got it too. And that's how we knew it was from there. We both got sick at the exact same time after that meal. But no food poisoning. Edu, is he talking about you being from Puerto Rico? I think Levlon is talking to Edu. Debbie wrote, Ethan, you're so brave to go on a cruise. I'm not there yet. It was my first cruise since I was a sophomore in high school, and I had a lot of rough memories about my OCD and on that cruise, and so it was kind of a redemption cruise. And it was, it was challenging at first, not just for the reasons that I described, but I did a lot of ERPing, as we say, a lot of ERP, and a lot of just being willing to sit with the discomfort and uncertainty, and ended up having a really present, good time doing a bunch of new things that I hadn't done. And so you'll get there. You will totally get there, and we can get there together. I'm so glad you found us, Debbie. And for anybody that's watching for the first time new, this is a phenomenal community, one of those most supportive, kind communities that I know of. And my life is definitely grateful for the IOCDF and all of you. Alexandra thinks the meal was chuleta. I don't know. I don't remember. Was it? Maybe. That's a pork chop, probably cooked with adobo. Possibly. Is that like a tomahawk steak? Maybe. All right. I hear you, Alexandra. It's a chuleta. I'm with you. Cuban. I don't know. I'll go back. I'll try to find the restaurant. That name doesn't sound familiar, but it was good. Oh, and then I had this great Christmas drink. Alexandra helped me with this. I had this great Christmas drink. I'm totally blanking because I don't normally drink, but it was delicious. It was green and minty, and it was a holiday drink, and that I will know when you say the name of it. But yeah, best meal ever. Let's see. Is anyone into animation movies? Kids, check out Arcane on Netflix. So good. Good suggestion, Renee. Also, if we're going to talk Netflix shows, because as we know, it's my industry. As you may or may not know, Katie has dragged me into the world of reality television, and it is hell and amazing all at the same time. And I actually have nightmares from it, which is really weird because I watch a lot of dark and disturbing stuff, no problem. but make me watch 90 Day Fiance on TLC. I have the worst nightmares. I'm not even kidding. I don't know why. I just do. But there's a new show on Netflix called School of Chocolate. And normally I don't like feel good shows. I loved this show. It was all this is like phenom chocolatier, young guy, started on TikTok and influencer, has a place in Vegas, does these insane showpieces and desserts that are photorealistic, and it's a take on the cooking competition genre. But I watched the whole thing in a day. It was awesome, and I now want to be a chocolatier. So if I suddenly disappear and move to France, you'll know where I went. Debbie wrote, yes, we also developed agoraphobia, travel issues, flew by myself in September, first time since I was 25, 35 years ago. This time, though, no alcohol. Good for you, Debbie. It does sound like you're making some major progress, and that's huge to do that. I know that isn't easy, so kudos to you. That's fantastic. And as you see, you're not alone. Meg wrote, same here with the agoraphobia. That's huge. I'm still working on getting in the car. Lol, amazing. It is this is a little something, but I'm going to point it out, and hopefully, Meg, you don't mind. You wrote LOL after you said it, and the reason I'm pointing this out is I just want to reiterate, this is a safe space, and I think you probably I think it's important to laugh at yourself, right? I think we can laugh at ourselves sometimes at sort of the ridiculous nature of OCD, and at the same time, it's completely debilitating and awful, and we all understand, what the misery is like. But I just want to tell Meg, and maybe I'm nitpicking, or maybe you just didn't think about it that much, but it's okay that you're still working on it. You don't have to. Sometimes I feel like I do the same thing, by the way, when I'm uncomfortable, I'll say, and I hope I'm not making you more uncomfortable by us putting your name, but I just wanted to say it's okay. It's okay that you're still working on it and still getting in the car. I mean, we've all been there in our own way with our own experiences. You are so not alone in that. So I just want you to know that we love you. We're here for you. We support you. We'll all get to where we're going. We just need to keep at it and take advantage of the opportunities that we have to get better, and make the most of it, and be willing to be uncomfortable. But I think that's awesome that just trying and getting out of your comfort zone is a huge step. And we never want to compare each other's accomplishments, pains, things that we deal with. We never want to make those comparisons, because each thing is that person's, and we can look at that an easy thing that somebody does and go, oh well, I can't do that, and that's just such an easy thing to do. It seems ridiculous. We never want to do that. So I hope, Meg, you don't mind on me just making a point of that. But I don't think any of us, especially in this room, right, in this with each other, need to ever feel like it's silly. It's okay, and again, it's okay to laugh. And if you were laughing at it, I think sometimes it's good to see that OCD is a little ridiculous, because I think it gives us permission to laugh at it a little bit, which is important because it diminishes its hold on us. But at the same time, please know that you don't ever have to make an excuse. We're here, and we definitely feel for you. I mean, we definitely feel you. We feel for you too. But anyway, I'm going to shut up now because I'm rambling. Anyway, I hope that made sense, Meg, and to every. Oh yes, Coquito. Thank you. That's exactly what the drink was. Let's see here. Yep, thank you, Fran. You don't drink, you have to try Guinness if you ever over. I do like Guinness. I have like 2 or 3 drinks a year. I never got into it. So I've actually never been drunk, and maybe I should get drunk for an exposure. Short story long, long story short, right around the age that you start to drink for the first time, in 4th or 5th grade. No, I'm kidding. And late 8th, 9th, 10th, that period of time, I was having really bad, intense OCD. My anxiety manifested in dizziness and nausea, and I had a fear of throwing up and all that stuff. And so started going to parties where everybody was getting drunk and throwing up. And I was like, oh, look, everybody who drinks gets dizzy and nauseous, the very thing I can't stand. So I just didn't drink because I didn't want to feel any of those things. And then, I never really developed that. So I'll drink very occasionally. I like a Bloody Mary every now and again, but I do like Guinness. I've had Guinness, and it is delicious. And I do need to have it from the motherland and not in a can. So agreed, Nikki. Love Lana wrote, agree, Ethan. People here are so freaking loving to me. That's something special. Well, that's sweet. It's in your name. How can we not be? The reality of this this is why this organization and this community is why we constantly say, or why I constantly say, at least, that I wouldn't take back any of my life or anything that's happened to me. People ask me all the time, if you could go back and change it all, would you? Um, you know, no, I wouldn't. Do I had I wished I didn't have OCD? Sure. And had there been a pill that was a cure, would I have taken it then? Sure, right? But the reality of it is that I am where I need to be, and just as much pain as OCD caused me, I could literally rattle off an infinite list of things I'm grateful for, because I'm exactly where I should be. This community is something that I'm grateful for. Being able to represent you all and OCD on a national stage is something I'm so insanely grateful for. And I wouldn't be there without my journey. I was literally just talking to Katie about, had I not had to take a step back in my life, I had a really hard time 3 years ago, not having nothing to do with OCD, just some other stuff going on. And never would have met Katie. Like all paths lead here. Here's pretty good for me, and I never take that for granted. I don't. I don't take it for granted. I'm grateful every day. I still have aha moments where I'm doing something and I think to myself, oh, I never thought I would ever do. I'm getting emotional, which is really weird. Never happens with me. I never get emotional, but I have moments all the time through every day where I think to myself, how did I get here? How am I doing this thing that I never thought I would do? I think about times in my childhood or my teenage years or young adult where I would look at other couples or other people and knew that that would never be me. I knew that that would never be me, and I believed that. I believed that that would never be me, and so when I go through this iteration of my life, these years, and I engage. Why didn't somebody tell me I had something in my teeth? That's embarrassing. Anyway, I'm just gonna live with discomfort. When I go through this life, whatever it is, and I start to notice things that I'm doing, I just go, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. And it can be simple. Like, I'm not talking about skydiving. I'm talking about going out and buying groceries, or the first time I could fly by myself, or the 10th time I could fly by myself, or a trip where I did 10 trips in a row. And before that, I was scared to leave my mom, and scared to travel, and scared to leave the house, and scared to leave my room. And so every day, at least once or twice a day, I kind of go, huh, this is unbelievable. I never thought I'd be here. And so, I guess bringing it back around to one of the earlier comments, I guess that's the unpredictability of life, right? We think we may know, and we don't necessarily know what's around the corner. But I'm a firm believer that we shape our own destinies, and we mold our futures. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we can't control any of it, right? We can control our focus and our behavior, and that's about it. But I firmly believe that we can make what we want of this life to the best of our ability, and make the most out of it. And I say that with the utmost humility, because it is by far not easy. But the way my life started and the way where my life is today, I never would have imagined that. And I know I say that a lot, but I mean, I couldn't be more sincere about it. So, with all of that being said, uh, I think that embracing where you are in this moment, where you are to move forward as we enter this new year. I know there's a lot going on. The world is disconcerting and anxiety provoking, and there feels like so much more uncertainty than there was even last year and the year before that. And it just, but we have, to love Lana's point, we have a phenomenal community, and you know, as long as you guys want me here, I'll be screaming about it, until, and I hope to make a small dent, as I know everybody here does, and all our advocates at the IOCDF and all our amazing staff at the IOCDF. We all want to make a dent, in this OCD issue, while we're here. It's a big problem, and I don't think we're going to fix it in my lifetime. I hope we do, but if we can all be a small part and moving the ball forward, you know, who knows what we'll be. So yeah, I think that I think that we can all take a breath in this moment, acknowledge where you are, even if you feel like you're in the depths of despair, even if you feel like, you showed up here tonight, and that's a big deal. And I don't never take that for granted. If you're laying in bed right now with your iPad or your laptop on your lap, or, wherever you are in this moment, you're here engaging, or even if you're just watching, you're doing something for you right now. And that's no small feat. So take a breath, you know, be proud of that you're here right now. Take stock of what you want for the new year. Be willing to put yourself out there and get uncomfortable and get out of your comfort zone to get there. Be okay if you falter along the way and you trip, but you just have to get back up. And we're in this together. And as Liz McInville always says, there's always hope, and there's always hope, and there's always us. We will always be here. We're a unit, and we all hold hands, and we're all here for each other. And that's what this is about, is this amazing community and all of you and everything that we will continue to do. And so we have about 4 minutes left. So I just want to thank you for being here and for supporting the IOCDF and me this year. It's been a tricky year, but I really appreciate all the love and support and conversation that we've had. These live streams would not be the live streams they are without you. It would just be me rambling, which is what Katie gets on a daily basis, and she can tell you it's not that fun. So thank you for not
that fun.
Oh my God, she just photobombed my live stream. No, that's enough, Katie. Anyway, so I think that you guys make this what it is, and so I'm so grateful for you. With that being said, the energy is going to pop back up just to wrap this up, but stay with me. I want to say that in the next year, Just Ethan will be changing names, so keep an eye out. This is the official last Just Ethan, but don't wait, it's still me. It's still just going to be me for the most part. We're changing the name to Community Conversations, and it was my idea, or our group effort. But as you can see, and if you've been with me the past couple of years, it went from basically me talking on a topic and taking questions to what this is now, which is us having a conversation and everyone contributing together. And so we felt that Community Conversations was a better representation of what this has morphed into organically. So with that, I don't know the first community conversation that I'm doing, sometime in January. So with that being said, we are shifting all of our programming and just continuing to hone in and make it better for everyone. And the first town hall, I think in January, which is January 4th, it'll be all the advocates, and we'll all be talking about all the new programming. All this live stream programming, this virtual programming on a regular basis happened out of COVID. We wanted to support individuals with OCD and related disorder during COVID. And we responded to that with tons of content, tons of town halls, and it's been morphing. And over the last 2 years, it's been growing and growing and growing and growing. And now we really want to be proactive and making sure that we have content that's meaningful to you. So we've looked at the metrics, we've looked at what you've loved, what you haven't loved, who you liked, just every aspect of our virtual programming to create the best possible programming for next year. And we'll talk more about it next year. So Just Ethan is becoming Community Conversations. And with that, I will tell you where to find all the upcoming programming. So first of all, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the IOCDF. Thank you, Fran. And we also owe Fran a big virtual round of applause for being amazing. This is like the last thing he does. He basically holds the IOCDF together on the IT virtual graphic, and anything with a computer, it's Fran. So Fran deserves a massive virtual round of applause for being an awesome IOCDF team member and genuinely caring about this community so much. So thank you, Fran, buddy. Really appreciate you. He's like the brother that I've never had, and the trivia partner. And I do have a lot of love for that guy. Anyway, for all upcoming virtual, stop crying, Fran, and put up the stuff. For all upcoming virtual streams and content, you can visit iocdf.org/peace of mind. If you visit the link that Fran will put up in 3, 2, 1. Oh, nailed it. We work together all the time. That'll show you when all the new content and the schedule. So you could check that out for when everything will be. Some quick announcements. Nope, the IOCDF conference is over for this year. First of all, you can donate to help us reach our end of year fundraising goal. Your gifts supports IOCDF programs designed to help people affected by OCD live better lives. Help us to reach our goal, our end of year fundraising goal of $150,000 by 12/31. You can go to iocdf.org/end of year. And if, honestly, if you can give anything $1, it's worth it. If all you can give is your time here, that's amazing too. So you are just appreciated. Please know that. Finally, registration is open for the OCD Online Camp. It's for youth 16 to 17. Nope, incorrect. 6 to 17. Lots of good stuff. You can go to iocdf.org/OCD camp. Check out more about that. Finally, we have a lot of programming this week, actually, before we take the week off next week. So tomorrow is Lunch and Learn on Family Dynamics with Liz. And then on Thursday, Chris Tronson will be hosting New Year, New You. He comes up with the best titles. He really does. Both those streams are at 12 p.m. Eastern on all IOCDF platforms. So we have stuff tomorrow and Thursday. No problem, Elaine. Everything is recorded. You can check things out on YouTube, Facebook. Facebook. No, that is right. Just the wrong order. Last but not least, you haven't already, want to be notified of all the upcoming programming the IOCDF is having over the next month or next year. Be sure to subscribe and follow on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Twitch. Blip. Yep. And finally, the thing you've all been waiting for, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to email me at justethan@iocdf.org. Listen, we're going into the new year. If you guys have conversation points, topics, things you want me to address, talk about, I try to keep these as organic as possible. But if you want to, if you want to have a specific topic that you're passionate about, or if I didn't get to your question or you want to talk more, you can visit me at justethan@iocdf.org. Right there, I answer those personally. They go directly to me, and I'm completely caught up. So feel free to email me, and always give me a few days, but I will get back to you. Last but not least, if you need anything at all from resources to questions, you can always visit info@iocdf.org. People are there and waiting to support you in any way that we possibly can. With that, Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy Kwanzaa. Whatever you celebrate, if you celebrated Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. I hopefully am not leaving anything out. If I am, Katie will surely let me know as soon as I hang up and kill me. So with that, have a very, very happy holidays, a beautiful new year. I'm so excited to see everyone in 2022. As always, stay safe, stay vigilant, feel the feels. Don't let OCD off the hook, and we'll see you next year. Have a good night.